All right, number 90's answer is 3x squared minus 7x plus 15 plus negative 32 over x plus 2. Number 92's answer is 3x minus 1 plus x minus 2 over x squared. 94's answer is 5x squared minus 11 plus x plus 20 over x squared plus 2. 96's answer is just x squared plus x minus 2 over 3x cubed minus 1. Sorry, I don't have the answer written. Number 98 is x squared minus 2/3 x minus 1/9 plus 1 7/9 x minus 1 8/9 over 3x squared plus x plus 1. That one was crazy. 100 is negative 3x cubed minus 3x squared minus 3x minus 5 plus negative 6 over x minus 1. 102 is x squared plus x minus 2 plus negative 2x plus 2 over x squared minus x plus 1. 69 is x minus 6 and x plus 6. 70 factors to x plus 3, x minus 3. 71 is negative 2 and then 2x minus 1 and 2x plus 1. 72 is negative 3 and 3x plus 1 and 3x minus 1. The 113, and I show my work a little differently because I didn't do an area model, I apologize. Most of you probably have x squared minus 1 and then x plus 2. The x squared minus 1 factors to x plus 1, x minus 1, and so then you have x plus 2. On 114, you have x squared minus 1 and x minus 3. X squared minus 1 factors to x plus 1, x minus 1, and x minus 3. On 115, the answer that you should have is x cubed plus 1 and x minus 1. And 116 is x cubed plus 1 and x plus 1. Come with questions next time. All right, the next assignment that we are going to do is factoring again. So we are going to factor what is on the screen here. If you notice, there's still 2 terms. Last time we did 2 terms and 4 terms. When we did the 2 terms, it was only with a factor or difference of squares. So these ones, if you notice, are cubed and cubed. This one is to the 5th and squared, so we might need to do a little bit of work there first. But what we do is if it's cubed and both parts are cube number, you do sum of cubes or difference of cubes. If it's an addition, it's sum. If it's a subtraction, it's difference. Sum of cubes factors, if you have a cubed plus b cubed, it will factor to a plus b. So what I do is I take the cube root of each of those numbers times a squared minus ab plus b squared. You have to have this minus ab. That way your signs will be opposite when you multiply it out, and that way everything will cancel besides those 2 terms when you multiply. So what we're going to do here is, what is this cube root of x cubed? It is x. What is the cube root of 1? It is 1. That's our a plus b. Our next part is a squared. So what is x squared? Minus 1 times x is 1x. You can just put x there, you don't have to put 1. Plus this squared, which is 1. And there you go. You're done. On sum of cubes and difference of cubes, if you try and factor this, you will never be able to unless you didn't pull out a greatest common factor first. Then you might be able to. All right, here, do they have a greatest common factor? No. It's a sum, so we're going to follow the same rule. What's the cube root of 8? 2. What's the cube root of x cubed? X. What's the cube root of 27? 3. So now, you square this first part. So we're going to square that. 2x squared is not 2x squared. It is 4x squared. You got to square the 2. Minus, multiply those 2 together, and you get 6x. Square this, and you get 9. Some genius came up with this, and we're going to use the bad boy. So here on our last example, we have x to the 5th, and we have x squared. So do they have a greatest common factor? Yes, they have x squared in common. So 125x cubed minus 64. So now what we have in parentheses is a sum of cubes. So what's the cube root of 125? It is 5. What is the cube root of x cubed? X. What is the cube root of 64? 4. This time, since it's a difference, you're going to make that a minus sign there. Instead of having a plus b, you're going to have a minus b. Then in your next parentheses, you still square this. So you get 25x squared. But instead of saying plus ab, we're going to say, or instead of saying minus ab, we're going to say plus ab. So the two signs right here switch if it is a difference of cubes. So you end up with a minus b and a squared plus ab plus b squared. So plus, multiply the two, you get 20x. Add on that squared, and you get plus 16. And there is your factoring problems. I'm going to move away to make sure that that recorded all my handwriting down here. Yay, it did. Hopefully this view is a little bit better than before, and maybe you can read it. And Turner, quit looking at my hairs on my face. Alright, so these are factoring as well. So our first step is to always look for a greatest common factor. So I'm just going to go through and do that. I didn't do it on the last slide, but I'm going to go ahead and do that on this slide. So these three do not have anything in common. These three have a 4 in common. These three have a 2 in common as well as x squared. So you get 4x squared plus 3x minus 1. And these do not have anything in common. Alright, here is our new thing. You have 3 terms. So hopefully you recall from fireworks unit in IMP2 that you do a little form called tic-tac-toe. I'm going to teach you another form rather than tic-tac-toe because I don't know if you guys remember tic-tac-toe or not. So I'm going to show you an area model. That way it follows along with what you've been doing and it keeps up with the same method. So here for our first problem, we're going to make an area model. Your first term, if it's in descending order, and your last term will go in your first box and your last box. So, factors of x squared are x and x. These middle two have to add to be the 7x. They also have to be factors of 10. So factors of 10 are 1 and 2. Not 1 and 2. What am I thinking here? How about 2 and 5? And 1 and 10. 2 and 5 added together will be 7. 1 and 10 added together is 11. So those aren't compatible, and we don't want those. We want 2x and 5x. So what does this row have in common? They're both divisible by 2. What does this row have in common? They're both divisible by 5. So it goes along with what you did for your 4 terms. So you get x plus 5 and x plus 2. And there's your factored form. For this one, try to do an area model on your own for the set of parentheses. So pause the video. Alright, I am going to do it over here, get a little bit more room. I'm going to put x squared in my first box and then negative 8 in my last box. So this time we're coming up with factors of negative 8. So that means that one number is going to be a positive number and one number is going to be a negative number. So factors of 8 are 1 and 8 and 2 and 4. So if I make those negative and